Hey,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if they're gonna do like these horror movies for, Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, Pinocchio, all that kind of stuff, I feel like Cinderella is on the chopping block soon. It's the scary part of it. I mean, you laugh, but I mean, it was already a gory book to begin with, but now somebody else is thinking like, you know what? Let's just take these Disney characters and make them scary. But Steamboat Willie. Yeah, the world is ending. Let's face it. Oh, hi guys, what's up? It's the Game Teacher Podcast. It's Nate the effing great here with Tori Clark, and yeah, what a unique way to start it. But honestly, it's kind of the ways to start these shows nowadays. Just a random rambling by me talking about whatever feels right. And honestly, guys, Disney goes off of like dark stories, and then they just decide what's a way to fluff it up a bit. And let's be honest, Cinderella is not one of those movies, not one of those things that's all glitz and glam and what it is, but we're talking about the positives. So,
I mean, when you were saying horror films, I'm like, I feel like Glass was already a horror film, but
oh my gosh, that would have been a great tie-in for that. But
I'm sorry. Just restart it. Yeah.
restart the episode.
Make you sound cooler.
No, but
Nate wants to
gee,
be cooler.
I,
That's the title of the episode now.
Nate wants to be cool. Oh, also Cinderella review.
Oh
Sure,
yeah,
why
and
not?
Cinderella wanted to be cool too. She got her wish. Maybe you'll get your wish one day.
Maybe. Gee. Oh, we're already going right off the rails right now. So we're going to be talking about the original Cinderella that came out in March 4th, 1950, ladies and gentlemen. And this is one of the weird parts is that when I was actually thinking about this movie, I thought to myself, okay, where would I actually put this? I mean, where we have this ranked up right now for all the movies that we've seen so far, this already does beat Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But I
Oh
also
yeah,
would make the case that Cinderella may be one of the first pillars of Disney because where Snow White definitely introduced, the whole prince and, evil villains and stuff like that. I feel like Cinderella took it to that next level that it needed to be. And like I said, it's a very dark, grim tale, especially when you consider the fact that how they do the whole shoe fitting scene. Yeah, it goes in a very, very dark way. So look that up. I'm not going to go into discussion about that. But yeah, rewatching the original Cinderella, it was one of those movies that I looked back at and I thought, I think I actually have a deeper appreciation for this movie because it's so well done, honestly. It's one of those movies that I think to myself, is there like one thing that I hated about this movie? No. Is there one thing that, people would probably like roll their eyes at being like, oh, this is stupid, this is for kids? Maybe the little mice. But other than that,
Mhm.
I enjoyed this movie. I thought this movie was really good.
I love Cinderella. It's not my favorite. You already know what my favorite is, but
Mhm.
but I think that whenever somebody tells me their favorite like Disney princess is Cinderella, I'm always like, yeah, okay, I could see why. Like it has such a good tale of you know started from the bottom, now you're here type of thing, and I I think it's a beautiful movie.
It really is. It's one of those movies that also can get dark at points. Not quite as dark as the original tale, but definitely dark at the points. And probably one of the main reasons why is because of Lady Tremaine, the villain of this entire deal, who is top tier, one of the best Disney villains of all time. She does not need to cast spells. She just gets in your head, honestly. And I think
She's
that
a manipulator.
that is the scariest part about this. And one of the things that people joked about, and it's not until I rewatched this movie, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, that glare that she has is just so nightmare fuel, especially if you're a kid and you do not
Yeah,
have like if you do not have like calming dreams, you know the reason why. It's because Lady Tremaine does her little look there. And to be honest, it shows within like the first few minutes that she's going to be somebody that we are not going to like.
no, I mean, and also she's passing it on.
That is true. She has two, she has two
It's
she has two
generational trauma.
it it's one of those things where, okay, well, for those of you that don't know what the story is, Cinderella, and well, they kind of basically do it in like the first few minutes where they talk about like, oh, Cinderella and her dad, they're living a good life, but the dad feels lonely, so he wants to remarry, which she does, which is to Lady Tremaine. And lucky for her, she has two daughters, which are Anastasia and Drizella. My God, those names. I think to myself, wow, I look back at the comic book names that we have, Harleen Quinzel, Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, all these names. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, wow, we've had unique names back in the days of Disney. But once Cinderella's father passes away, that's where the manipulation comes in to where Lady Tremaine decides, you know what? I have my two daughters up on a higher pedestal than Cinderella herself. So she basically takes like everything away from Cinderella and she treats her like a maid more than a stepdaughter. To which is like, oh, just joy. Wow. Um, this is nice, wholesome family, but I mean, there's going to be like, good things about it, right? Right? It's like, no, no, there is. She gets to talk to little dancing mice and everything, little birds and stuff like that. And it gets to be a really good story, which basically goes through all of the traumatic deals that she goes through with dealing with this family, but also trying to, wanting to live a life and be a part of something more. I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of people look back on and they don't really fully appreciate when it comes to this movie is that this is a woman who goes through so much. And then in the end, she's able to get, the ultimate happiness, which in all honesty, she deserves it.
Yeah, yeah, it's great, and it's almost like it's a weird story of kind of like karma a little bit. Like what goes around comes around, and like she's a hardworking, good person who eventually gets noticed and turns into a princess. That's a pretty good tale to me.
It is very simple. It's kind of, I wouldn't say short, sweet to the point, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like, it's easy to follow along. It's easy to go through it. It's great. One of the things I definitely looked at, and I was thinking to myself, okay, obviously we have the return of one of our favorite voice actresses, that being Verna Felton, who plays the fairy godmother in this one, to which I was like, what? So you mean to tell me that this woman is literally a part of most of my childhood in Dumbo, Cinderella? She's going to be showing up again in Alice in Wonderland. Oh my gosh. Again,
That's pretty
another,
cool. I didn't know that.
another reason where it's like, oh my gosh, I love this movie that much more. If you can get something new out of it, it's great. It's absolutely great. But the one thing I really looked into was the main actress who played Cinderella, Eileen Woods. I looked at her like history and everything like that, and I just looked at this and I thought to myself, okay, so what is she all about? Apparently, her mom wanted her to be a singer, but Eileen, she actually wanted to be a school teacher. But in the end, she got her own radio program. She started singing, and I looked at some of the things. I'm like, okay, what else? See here,
Wow,
I think she auditioned for Cinderella, and out of 600 people, she got the part, which I thought, wow, that is Hollywood to a T.
that's
600,
amazing.
600 broken hearts, one dream come true.
I, you got it down.
But some of the things that she did is that she actually sang for two presidents, FDR and I think President Truman as well as singing for a lot of the Army and the Navy. And I thought to myself, wow,
Wow.
she's absolutely incredible. Holy cow. And the thing is, this is her second and last appearance in a film. She's only done two films her entire career. So that's something that I was like, oh my gosh, she's a gem. She's a gem in this world. Holy cow.
Wow. Hey, it's a good voice. I mean, it's funny how like Snow White and Cinderella's voices are so high and and stuff where like I love how I'm gonna talk about like she's great, but their high voices were so high back because of back in the day. Like now, like my voice is like a lot lower because it's acceptable. But I think it's funny how, yeah, I'm glad she got by on. just two movies and got to live a very beautiful life and really cool.
Exactly. So getting back to the Cinderella story, I think one of the people that one of the things I think a lot of people do have a bit of issue with when it comes to this movie is the prince. And to be fair, he gets a little more screen time than the Snow White prince, but doesn't really talk much, does he?
I mean, he likes feet. I,
That's what we get out of this movie. Just four lines of dialogue, and he likes feet.
yes. I mean, it's a weird trope of like, yes, I saw you and you are mine and you are perfect, and now I will go through the kingdom to find you. But yeah,
It's one of those weird tropes where I had the mindset when watching this movie, as well as the live action one, which we'll talk briefly about later on, to having a little more open mind, like, okay, what was it kind of like back in the day? And to be honest, it was kind of one of those things where looking back at it, it doesn't bother me as much when there's like a situation where it's like, oh, this person fell in love in like one night. It's like that happened probably like all the time back in the day. They were just literally like, day one, you are mine. I love you. Let's get hitched. That I think literally is what it. I think there's even like one story that I don't know if I remember if it was a teacher of mine or if it was somebody in my church, but I remember somebody actually mentioning that was like how he met his wife was literally just take one look at her and said, "I'm gonna marry you," and she's like, "This is only our first date. I'm gonna marry you." Just and she's like, "Okay," and lo and behold, yeah, they ended up getting married. So it was one of those things where it's like, you know what? That kind of mindset, I believe that would have happened back in the day. So
yeah.
honestly,
I mean, I think that it's a little different for guys and girls. So you're right. I would say that I think the prince, if he decided right then and there, you're right. I could believe it. I could
I
believe it.
I will also say this that it was one of those movies that actually looking back on it, I thought to myself, okay, there's not just one villain in this movie. There's two. There's Lady Tremaine and Lucifer the cat.
Ouch.
Because my God, this cat had a personality all his own. And I'm almost curious. I'm wondering why I haven't looked into this. I'm thinking to myself, did Don Bluth have any kind of say when it came to this cat? Because this feels like a very Don Bluth kind of deal when it came to this cat. Just ferocious and vicious at times, just a very evil kitty. And we
Am
know
I
his
not aware of who this is? Tell me, inform me. Who's? Are you saying Don Boo?
Don Bluth. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Don Bluth is?
I
So,
don't know who Don
so
Bluth is.
Don Bluth is an animator who worked with Disney, but when he moved away from Disney. He was actually one of the reasons why we got great movies like Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven,
Oh,
American Tail. He's
yeah,
the
I love
he's
all those.
yeah he's the mastermind behind those animated films. Honestly,
And like Disney just like fired him or something?
I can't remember exactly what the story was, but
Probably some.
you know what? We're gonna do an episode devoted to Don Bluth. This needs to
I
be a
mean,
thing
now
now.
I did not know that. I did not know who that was by name. But when you tell me Land Before Time, like, are you kidding me? Like, I, I,
Let's go.
I, I grew up one day.
Oh man, he's oh man, Don Bluth, love you. But yeah, that's what one of the things that one of the reasons why I
He's
mentioned
done
this
been
is
killing
that
moms and killing dogs his whole life too. So he belonged for Disney. Like, what did they do?
so one of the funniest things was that a lot of times like a lot of movies that he did also did Secret of Nim as well. So
Okay.
a lot of times the cats would come out as very like demonic and very monstrous, and some people was just like, does Don Bluth have an issue with cats?
Hate
And
cats.
and he actually said in an interview, it's like, no, it was just kind of how I wanted to animate it. It's not like anything against cats. I love cats. I think he even said he had a couple of cats. So it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, so it's just one of those things where he needed something or someone to be this monstrous deal, and it just happened to be a cat. Yeah, fair enough.
Funny. I
To be
mean,
fair with
if it's gonna be
cats,
mice, like it makes sense. Like
but
the mice had to be
yeah,
afraid of stuff.
yeah, and just with Lucifer again, just especially whenever that cat would just be evil. Like the scene where Cinderella's locked in the tower, and Jack and Gus, they have the key, and it's just like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. Cup covers as Lucifer covering, and he's just doing the kind of evil sneer. It's just so amazing to watch. And
Oh, gotcha.
also, funniest thing about this is that the dog is named Bruno, and all throughout the movie, I thought to myself, "Oh, this is why we don't talk about Bruno because he kills Lucifer at the end."
Oh shoot.
It's like, no, 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 he doesn't. He really
I
doesn't.
didn't
But
think
it's
I was
just
like, I didn't think he killed. I'm like,
no.
somebody killed
So,
somebody?
somebody made a YouTube video, and I cannot believe that this was a thing. Um, where they made it look like they played out the scene like it was where Lucifer is in the windowsill and Bruno kind of scares him off. They make it
Yeah.
to where it actually looks like Lucifer actually fell to the ground and died. It was just one of those things where like, oh, this is a little traumatic. Thank you for not having this in the actual movie. And
Jeez.
and how would you explain that for, Cinderella 2 and Cinderella 3, which we'll talk about those another time.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez. I don't remember those at all. I don't
I,
even think I watched them.
well, let's just say that was during the straight to DVD or VHS era of Disney. One of the more great times, weird thumbs up kind of thing. Getting back to Cinderella now. Um, yeah, no, it was just one of those movies that rewatching this, I really had a more profound respect for it as to just being the great movie that it was. The animation's good, characters are really good. Now we go from that to the live action one, and it's definitely a whole different story because you definitely have more characters that are developed. They want to give these characters more depth. Uh, the fact that they got Kate Blanchett to play the stepmother was literally one of those things where like, oh, okay, I'm all for this. Let's just see how it goes. And how the narration at the end says like, "Oh, Lady Tremaine, the Duke, and the daughters were gone, never seen again." All I thought to myself was, "Okay, this confirms it." She literally goes away and becomes Hela in Thor 3. Let's just face it. That's my Disney to Marvel canon theory right now. Is that that's what literally happened? She got so distraught that she became Hela, goddess of
A
death,
goddess.
basically. I
She
mean, hey,
became a god.
she could have been that way this whole entire time, and this was just her basically trying to, tone it down with that deal. But then when she couldn't take it anymore, she broke, she snapped. I don't know. It's a weird theory,
Hey,
but at the
it
same time, it
can
could
be a
happen.
theory. It can be. I'll yes and yeah. Sure, yeah. That happened. Definitely right. Isn't okay, okay. I know we already we preluded this, but like I'm pretty sure I guess I have the Google Meister right in front of me, so I could Google this, but like pretty sure like didn't Tim Burton like direct or something that movie, this new Cinderella, the live action?
No, I am 100% certain that he did not, but I could also look that up as well because I'm also
Let's see.
curious. I forgot what it was. Um, okay, so the director was
Kenneth
Kenneth
Braun. I thought something. I thought Tim Burton was
Bronga.
involved.
Bronga, I think it is. Um,
Yeah.
if so, well, okay. I do know why we're talking about Tim Burton because while looking back at the live action one, I definitely enjoyed it. There were definitely a couple things where I was just kind of like, "Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
gonna
it
be
was like
a."
dark. And that's why I was like, is he a part of it? Is he a part of it?
It's not
Because
as
you already
dark,
told me that. I was like, is she? Oh,
right? Yeah, one of the things that we discussed before for recording was that one of the issues I had with the live action one was how they portrayed the fairy godmother. Where in the original, she's definitely a lot more caring, nurturing, stuff like that. Almost like, a godmother would be like. In the live action one, it's literally one of those things where it's like, okay, so she first tests Cinderella to see if she's actually kind, but she already knew that she was kind. So there's what? There's a giant question mark for me there. And then she's kind of like this bumbling kind of thing to where
Yeah.
it's like, wait, what? She like she doesn't know
She's
what.
not very put together.
I'm literally looking at this and I'm just thinking to myself, wait, what, what is this? Who is this person? What is this? Now at the end, it's just one of those things like, oh, she's supposed to be the comedic effect. Oh, I totally do not understand why. There
Why
were
did we
so many
need
other
it?
things. She was not needed as a as that comedic effect. I'm sorry. It just it made no sense to me. But that being said, I definitely enjoyed the fact that um, when I found out that the prince would go on to feature in the Game of Thrones, I literally thought to myself, "Oh my God, that's awesome!" Because, but also he has a happier ending in this version of a fairy tale
Is
than
it one of the hang
one of the Stark
on.
boys. Yeah, he's I think he's
Yes, Red
Rob.
Wedding. Yeah,
No, no,
Rob. Yeah,
yeah, Rob Stark. Yeah,
yeah. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
yeah. Anytime.
Spoiler.
Well, it's been off for years. I mean, I'm just slowly catching up to it right now. So, but the fact that people are like, "You're just catching up to it now. It's one of the greatest things of all time." You know what? From what I heard, majority of it, and from what I've seen so far, it's really good. But I've heard that the last season is one of the most biggest pieces of trash that you will ever see. I think to myself, am I just prolonging the inevitable to where I see that? Because I'm
I mean,
scared.
I think if you don't know about the books and stuff, I think it doesn't matter. But I'll just say Game of Thrones, I think, is overrated.
It could
And
be.
I think it's pretty boring.
I
Give me
still
more
find
dragons or give me
it.
nothing.
Well, that's why they have House of Dragons or whatever that.
Exactly. That's what they're like. Oh, let's try again, but with actual dragons.
Let's hit
I
the
was like,
restart
yeah,
button with dragons.
yeah, let's add dragons. Yeah, that probably does well. It does.
Dragons. Anyway, so
That's what every movie needs. Just add a dragon and it's a better movie.
just give me one dragon. That's all I ask for. Is just one little dragon, and
So I
then
mean the next
make it a
one we
big
talk
one.
about is Sleeping Beauty, right? Probably. So
Oh, it is going to be a future one. So I will tell you guys this in a bit of a I guess you could say spoiler of what's the next episode. I mentioned this to Tori that we're gonna actually watch Ever After because of the fact that I've not seen it and people have been talking about it. I'm like, okay, I need to watch this. So that'll be more of our full length one for next one. But afterwards, yes, Sleeping Beauty will be on there. So we will have our dragon. We will have one of the another great villain.
I love it.
It's gonna be awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah, as far as like everything else goes for the live action one, like I enjoyed it. It was one of those things where again I kept the mind space of being like, okay, this is back in the olden times, so not gonna really go into like, oh, this wouldn't happen in real life. It's like it's not a modernized deal, dude. It's literally them doing a nice fancier deal of what happened back in the day. That's all it is. Just deal with it. And if you don't, then just go watch something else and go rot your brain somewhere else. Don't ruin this movie for me right now.
Yeah.
I already have Twitter trying to ruin wrestling for me, so I don't need anybody else trying to ruin something else for me. But anyway, so
Oh.
yeah,
Mhm.
I actually really did enjoy that. And I will also say this that after watching Lily James, who plays the uh Cinderella there, and then watching her performance in Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia, here we go again. There we go. It was one of those things where it's like, am I getting a celebrity crush on this chick? Go to Wikipedia for a minute. If somebody knows if Lily James is single, let her know that I am too. Hook a brother up. I
Oh
think
my gosh.
I think from what I saw, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, she's was formerly engaged. Wait, might be my chance. So I'm throwing my shot
There
out
you
right
go.
now. I'm throwing my shot out right now. Lily James, hit me up at Real Effing Game. Love to talk to you. We can talk musicals. We can talk about whatever you like. Just let me know. Let me know. Anyway, that's
Awesome. Way to go, Nate.
I gotta throw my shot out there somehow. But
Good
anyway.
for you. Good for you. I like it. I like it. I support. I support.
Well, if you ever meet her in one of the streams, then you just let her know. Hit me up.
I'll let her know. That's awesome. But
So
yeah, I think my only problem with the live action, and I think that's what they adjusted eventually after Cinderella, was the fact that they didn't have the music, and Disney's all about their musical.
that is true.
So that would be my number one folly of whatever they wanted to do. I don't know what it was for, but like you can't have a Disney princess movie without all the songs. So
It is crazy that they actually do have Lily James singing the song of, a dream is a wish that your heart makes. It's just one of those things where it's like, why didn't you just put this in the movie? And also it was really weird seeing the transformation scene with the fairy godmother without Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo playing. It's like
yeah,
this it
you
just
like ruined it. Like you ruin it a little bit, and that's like why we didn't. Well, why some of us didn't really enjoy it as much
right.
because you have these high expectations of like, ooh, it's going to be this fun, cute musical, and then you get there and you're like, ooh, it's kind of dark and dreary and no singing. And Cinderella was like, like she was always singing. Like that was part of the how she got through her day.
Right. It was one of those things where she was able to even make it through life, really. I mean, she
Hmm.
was trying to stay
Exactly.
positive and
Yeah.
um no, I still yeah, it was still one of those movies that I literally was just like, okay, it's not, it's not the greatest, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing that I've seen. I mean, when we get if we ever talk about live action Mulan, oh my God, that's that is literally like, okay, get this movie out of my system. But
Rough.
we haven't even gotten to Mulan yet, so we're gonna hold off on that.
But
So
yeah, Ever
yeah,
After
what
will be fun though.
oh
I'm excited for you to watch that. If you liked the live action Cinderella, Ever After is so much better.
I don't think I've seen a bad Drew Barrymore movie. So it's kind of one of those things where like I'm kind of very happy that I get to continue this streak of, Drew Barrymore is great. Is she one of my favorite actresses? No. But at the same time, it's one of those things like I haven't seen her do a horrible performance. There's some people that
Agree.
you watch, it's like, oh well, I don't think I can take you seriously anymore.
I
but
agree. I agree.
but Drew Barrymore is like she's the one gem right now. Let's just keep that role going. As long as I don't see Blended, was it the one with Adam Sandler and her? Whatever. No, I think that was something else. Whatever. It's whatever. Um, yeah, no, I think that's gonna wrap up for this edition of the GCP talking about Cinderella. Honestly, it's one of those staples of early Disney that was really good. And honestly, they didn't botch it or they didn't like make it a horrible live action deal. It was just like just a couple like small things here and there, or the biggest one being, as my co-host mentioned, was the fact that unfortunately none of the songs are really provided there. They're provided at the end, which is like, oh, so you made us watch a almost 2 hour movie just to hear singing at the very end. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Missed
it's
opportunity.
oh, we're not going to talk about Wish yet. So
Oh,
yeah,
ooh,
we're not to that point yet. We're getting there. We are getting there, but we're not quite there yet. Um,
so funny.
but yeah, honestly, like I said, early staple for the beginning deals. It's one of those live action remakes where I'm like, eh, I think that people nowadays would still enjoy it. It's not one of those things where I'm thinking like, oh, be damned, it's one of the worst things. It doesn't relate to the book or it doesn't relate to the original. It's like, it's its own deal. Just let it be its own deal. And also, Rob Stark gets a happy ending in there. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you want to see Rob Stark have a happy ending, that's the main reason you should watch
Ah, that's a good reason. That's a good reason. If you're so sad about that, go for this.
Yes, there are no headless people with wolf heads in this one. Yes, it's a spoiler, but it also is a gruesome spoiler, to be fair.
That's great. I like that. No headless princess here.
No headless prince with a wolf head, or just oh gosh, that scene now is just getting right back in my head, and I'm getting sad about it because
Yeah,
I love Rob. He was probably
yeah,
like one of my all time favorite characters. It's like now you killed him. Why?
yep,
I hate you, Game of Thrones.
yep.
Anyway, rant for another time. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this edition of the GCP. Uh, Miss Clark, where could they possibly find you if you are available on the social media?
I almost wanted, I'm like, I don't have for pirate accent anymore. Is that an accent? Pirate? Is it Pirate Day?
No,
No, you
that's my
could,
nerd accent.
oh, nerd accent. Gotcha. Well, they can find me on the socials of the Instagram, if you've ever heard of the Instagram. And that's going to be at Tori Clark underscore boss mode.
All right. And guys, if you want to check me out on social media at Real Effin Game on the Instagram as well as on the Twitter. Some people call it X. I still call it Twitter because Elon Musk is an idiot. That is something that I will admit to. But also, if if the one and only Lily James would like to hit me up and hey, we can grab a coffee, we can have a good time. That is something I would be for. Hey, I shot my shot. It's one of those things where you just never know until you try. So if anybody knows
That's
Lily
true.
James, let her know that I'm looking for her. Not in that way. Not in that way. Not the stalkerish way. But
I don't know.
I
I'm
think
over here looking
I
for
think
her.
that, and hey, in an interview she says that she hates that there's like dating profiles that have those like random what is it like motivational messages on there, or she's like, oh, be true to yourself and stuff like that. Apparently she hates that. Hey, point for me. I don't do that stuff. I just say it.
He says it out loud, not via
You would know.
not via
You know
text.
you've known me for years. So
You do. But that's awesome. I love it.
so thank you guys so much for enjoying this, or maybe you didn't enjoy it, but still, let us know. Leave a comment, give a like, share this episode, and just remember, be good. And a dream is a wish that your heart makes. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Uh,